of it, to be able to tell the people, the benefits of actually going raw?
Well, for me now, it's since 1976, so we're talking 48 years of not eating any cooked food, any dead foods, 54 years of not consuming any animals, and getting into it starting back then, 1970, coming out of the 60s. For us, it was part of the revolution. It was just another pillar in the revolution to defend our life, to protect ourselves and not consume weapons. So that was really the whole spark, self-defense, because we're talking during those times, you had that convergence of the Black Power movement and, of course, that Vietnam War movement or anti-Vietnam War movement, and then you had the hippie movement. So being on college campus USA and, staying abreast of what's hip, what's new, what's great, what's serious, what's real, and it was a heavy revolutionary period. So for us, the revolution played out on our plates. When I say us, I'm talking about, my posse, the brothers and sisters that I was flowing with during those times. And, we're talking, I'm 23 years old at that point, and, we're very conscious, very aware that, we need to be eating real foods and not putting foods into our system that would make us sick. So that was the bottom line for us, as revolutionaries and fighting on the front line. We don't want to inflict self-destruction, and that's what we saw these foods as, weapons that would destroy us. So coming up with that and, getting into reading and analyzing, the whole principles involved in a vegetarian life. And, we still, even to today, we still use the word vegetarian and not vegan, because the vegan movement is about animal rights. And, we animals too. And, as a Black man, I'm one of the most endangered species of animals on the planet. So it wasn't about trying to save somebody's bald eagle, but saving our afro, serving our head and defending ourselves and protecting ourselves and being in a position where we can, be able to withstand, the battlefield without falling sick and becoming a burden to our fellow, comrades by having to, to be moving dead, moving handicapped. So coming into it like that, and after, and this was after just being in the U.S. for a few years. I was born in Panama and migrated to the U.S. in '64. And, I'm coming straight out of the jungle, the tropical jungles in Panama, which is where I find myself now. So we have a 700-acre farm in the forest, in the rainforest. So I've come full cycle, full circle after living in the U.S. for 36 years and, being, again, right there on the front line and, learning and studying in the neighborhood. And my neighborhood was Bed-Stuy, and, getting educated in the community, Vegetarian 101, at the independent Black school, Uhuru Sasa, and being in this position and growing up with this legacy, with the backdrop of, having grown up in Panama in a Jamaican descendant family in a Latin country on the U.S. Canal Zone. It was quite a bit, eating out of three pots, as a youth, the Latin pot, the Jamaican pot and the American pot, and seeing the difference between these cuisines. So, we had a high taste to begin with, and we knew what real food was about. So coming into the U.S. and getting introduced to sloppy Joe and hot dogs and hamburgers and, falling into the blues of the sad diet, the standard American diet, then it didn't take me much to wake up and find my way back home, no matter where I found myself at the time. So, you know, over these years now, I've developed a cuisine that I call Sunfired Foods, which is basically, we're talking about foods that are cooked by the sun. And we're talking plant food. And mind me, not plant-based like you do today. We don't base food. And we don't eat plant-based and then they splice other stuff on it and go beyond meat. We're not about that. We came before meat. And we don't eat slut and all of that kind of stuff. We eat royal food, great food, organic food, fresh food, living foods, foods with life in it. So that's what sun-fired food is all about. It's foods that have been cooked by the sun. So the growing period is the cooking process. So there's nothing raw about an apple. There's nothing raw about spinach. There's nothing raw about the foods that were intended for us to eat. They're cooked to perfection and cooked by the only chef on the planet, and that's the sun, cooks for all of us. So without sunshine, there's no food. And of course, sunshine is our number one major nutrient. We eat the sun. So when we're grabbing a bite of a pear, a peach, an apple, a watermelon, lettuce, tomatoes, whatever, we're eating sparks of the sun. We're eating condensed solar rays, solar vibration. So obviously our food must grow in the sun. And we see what happens to us when we eat foods that are, stuff that are not food, that they grow in darkness and present it to us as food. Things like mushrooms, which are fungus, they're actually not foods. And a lot of us, some of us get all bent out of shape when I call fungus athlete's foot. What is athlete's foot? It is fungus. But you can go on with your education, and I respect what you eat. I'm not here bashing anybody's food. Everybody's food is sacred. I'm not trying to take no pork off your plate, no mushrooms off your plate, no fungus off your plate. You go ahead and defend your life and live it the way you see it. I'm not a healer. I'm not on a mission. I'm here dealing with, living my optimum life and getting the best food that I know of on the planet. And you want to eat mushrooms and die a slow death, that's on you, and I'm just here to extend the bridge and share with you what is the ultimate, ideal, best food that is suitable for human consumption. And they're basically plant foods that come with seeds, and they're not processed. They're only cooked by the sun. So, that's it. That's in a nutshell how I got into it, who I am. I have an honorary doctorate degree for having developed Sunfired Foods, Arts and Science. I'm acclaimed in the Oxford Encyclopedia as the father of ethical gourmet raw food cuisine in America, because prior to me getting into it, everybody that I met that were into raw food in the 60s and 70s, they all was into it because they were sick. So it was a very direct healing cuisine. It was designed for healing. So, you literally had to be sick to enjoy it because it was plain, bland, simple, pure, totally healing. No salt, no seasoning, no spice. So I just spiced it, and that's how we came about with Sunfired Gourmet Food. And basically we just gave honor to the sun by adding the S to unfired foods, because besides raw food, that was one of the ways that they used to describe these foods, unfired. But we could not look at the great work of the sun and put it in a negative way. So there's nothing on about it. It is sun-fired. And this is where we stand up to today. It's not plant-based. It's not vegan. It is real food cooked by the sun.
That's right. Thank you for that. What I want to also talk about is your perspective on drinking water. I know that you said you done spent years without drinking any water, right? So I wanna see, how long you been without drinking water, and what is the benefits of drinking structured water that comes from the fruit?
Yeah, well, thank you for the question because, it's the same like, sun-fired foods, foods that are cooked by the sun. They're not raw. So when we're talking water, I mean, I do drink water. So yeah, that is the word, structured water. You know, is the issue is that people who are drinking this empty water, blank water, call it spring water, call it ionized water, reverse osmosis, distilled water, alkaline water, whatever you want to call it. These are just man-made filters that are trying to imitate the work of the plants. So the coconut tree is the perfect filter, filters the inorganic minerals in the water and turn them to an organic source. So the bottom line is my water comes through plants. So I do drink water. Of course, I drink watermelon. Watermelon is water, just like water coconut is water. It's a coconut that's 100% water. A watermelon is bottled water, melon flavored bottled water. So yeah, if you want to drink spring water, your watermelon is your best shot. Because the watermelon vine is actually a hose that taps into an underground spring and pumps water out and bottles it in those watermelon bottles. And you see how it runs as a vine. It may run for a mile and it's bottling water. So this is what I'm drinking. And as a matter of fact, watermelon, you don't even have to drink it. You just eat your water because it's 99% water. So it's a whole different perspective, as opposed to this concept that we've been frozen into of doing H2O, this type of water that basically all it offers us is hydration. And every other single water on the planet does the same thing. It offers us hydration. But water is the only one, your water, your standard water is the only one that don't have minerals that are organic. It may have inorganic minerals, but your body can't do anything without with those. So no vitamins, no electrolytes, no electrical energy, electrical charge. It's inert. It's pretty much dead. Of course, stagnant water, still water, we know it grows moss, so it gets stink, it spoils. And these bottled waters, whatever they treat it with, they're not breaking down. So what we want is living foods for living people. We want living water. We want water that will spoil. But we're living a very obscene life, living in these caves we call homes and houses, and and we're just following, the line to the supermarket, and that's it. And that basically the supermarket don't sell foods. Most of what is in there is non-food, even the things that look like food. So we have to really come home. We need to come back to the farm, come back to the land. And we definitely need to be in the tropical belt, because coconut water is the natural water for human consumption. It comes from the breast of the earth, those coconut bottles, coconut fruits that are 100% water. And again, they have more electrolytes than any other foods on the planet. They're the original sports drink, energizers without you having to work for them, So yes, over 40 years that I don't drink, water as you know it, but I drink orange water, pineapple water, carrot water, cucumber water. I drink plant water from the fruits and vegetables that are juiceable. And look, at 75 and still climbing coconut trees and working out vigorously and not sick and have 20/20 vision, I'm gonna stay on this path, because I know the human body was not designed to be sick. Yes.
That's a blessing, man, and that's what I wanted to get into is your daily exercise that you do at the age of 75. Like I don't see you do videos where you run and you jog on a regular basis, and you actually, like I said, you said you climb trees, you do all this stuff at 75 years old. When it's brothers and sisters at 40 that can't climb a tree. You know what I mean? You doing it at 75 years old. So what is your usual routine when it comes to moving the body, actually exercising and things of that nature?
Well, you know, if you don't use the body, you're gonna lose it. You know, so we got to keep active. We got to keep those motor skills moving. You know, so walking, running, jogging, whatever you're doing, you know, get out of those cars, get up off the couch, you know, go break a sweat, you know, 2, 3 times a day, at least once a day, especially in the morning. You want to open up your skin, your largest organ of elimination, and just pour the waste out. You know, when you're sleeping at night, you're fasting, you're doing the repair work, restructuring your body. You know, it's like going into the body shop, you know, and doing a tune-up, checking all the valves, all the everything, you know, and changing fuses and, you know, breaking down cells that are no longer useful, building new one. So that's 8 hours during your sleep, during that fasting mode. So when you arise in the morning, the next 8 hours, you are on the elimination phase. You are breaking your fast. It's about emptying the trash bin. It's not a meal. It's not a break fast. It's 8 hours of elimination. So you want to put into your body what it's going to take to facilitate elimination. So obviously you want electrical foods, foods that are higher in moisture, foods that are high in fiber. So you want roughage. You want to hose out, sweep out, mop, clear it out, empty the trash bin. So urinate, defecate, sweat, open up, pour it out. Then you go into your third phase of the day, and that's the intake phase. That's when you put in your building material. And ideally, we talking 12 noon to 8 p.m. So the natural time to be sleeping, to be fasting is 2 hours after sunset, 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. The roosters, the cock is crowing, you know, because they wake up cocked, you know, and they're crowing, you know, and they feel the energy of the sun before it comes on their horizon. So between 8 p.m. and 4 a.m., get your rest, you know. But of course, you know, many of us living an unreal life today, and it's not a reality. It's not, you know, it's not that smooth to get 8 hours and to get them within the prescribed time. But at least, you know, one thing you can control is when you do eat. And you do want to eat during the daylight. So between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So, and between 4 a.m. and 12 noon, the body's on elimination. The body's on elimination. The body's removing the waste from the system. It is breaking the fast. And it's absolutely unscientific to break a fast with bacon and pancake and oatmeal and all of this stuff. Come on. I mean, we do spiritual fasts. You know, this is a therapeutic fast, and you have to be more critical as to how you break a therapeutic fast. So in the morning, you don't want to be putting in building food, and that's starches and protein. You want to put in electrical food. The starches and protein are magnetic foods. They're magnet, they're builders. And then, you know, you come down to the midday, the afternoon, you want to get your protein. So fruits in the morning, high moisture and fiber, 6 a.m. to 12 noon, and from 12 noon to 6 p.m., you want to get your vegetables, your minerals, your vitamins, all these fine, subtle energies. And of course, you want your building blocks, your protein. And you definitely can bypass the starch, those complex carbohydrates. We're talking the roots, the potatoes, the yams, the cassava, all of that stuff. It's just pure starch, 100%. They're complex carbohydrates, which means they're complicated sugar, because you got to turn them into simple carbohydrate, into simple sugar, fruit sugar, grape-like sugar. So all the rice, all the macaroni, all the beans, all the deep roots that you eat, the potatoes and so forth, all of these foods need to be broken down into simple carbohydrate into sugar. So, which means you got to rev your body up, turn it into a refinery, and catch up with Usain Bolt and make some sugar as you run. Otherwise, you're eating those starches, they sit on you, mucus, coal, they call them, you know, kidney stones, glaucoma if it settles in your eyes, gallstone, arthritis, diabetes, inflammation, you name it. A lot of these diseases today are food bound, and the biggest culprit is the starch. Yeah, but we're not going to, also forget the animal product. So between the starch, the complex carbohydrates, the meat and potato, you're a loser. You're going to be sick. Okay? So let's grow up. Let's get out, defend our life, protect our plate. And look, your girl said it, Michelle Obama, the American, my plate nutrition concept. And 50% fruits and vegetables should be on my plate. And the other 50% is protein. And she didn't even qualify it as the animal protein. So she said it's cool to be a vegetarian. So 50% protein, and the rest of that other 50% is grain. She did not even say starch. She didn't say potatoes. She didn't say roots. She didn't say beans. She said grains. So come on now, let's get up to date and let's defend our life. Let's protect our plate, because you are what you eat. What you eat yesterday walks and talks tomorrow. It farts and do all the other stuff today. So you don't want it to be giving off gas, then you need to follow certain protocol. And it's a very complex science, but it's very direct, and it's definitely rule governed, and it's predictable. If you eat beans, you're going to get full of gas, unless you're going to soak them and sprout them and take them to the next level. But who said beans were food anyway? Who said rice is food anyway? Who said corn is food anyway? So ask your dummy. You love that dummy today. Pull up your search engine, ask them how long human beings been eating corn, rice, potatoes. Okay? Under 10,000 years, you've been experimenting. So it's time to get off the experiment. Stop being a guinea pig. It's failed. You're too sick. You cannot adapt to eating those kind of food. So please get your sugar from fruits. All right? All these fruits out here, they're not for just for the birds, the bees, the bats, and the butterflies. They're for us as well, and we need to eat them and pass on the starch, because who wants to turn their body into a refinery to make sugar from starch? Why, you could just have you a whole big plate of grapes or apples or peaches or mangoes, papayas, and get your sugar direct from the source. Well, our center is located in Panama, in Central America. We're just like about 4 hours from New York, a couple hours from Miami, so we're within reach. We're closer than California if you're on the West Coast. But, we're in the tropics, and we are living where coconuts grow. We're in the rainforest. Again, I said 700 acres. We have 18,000 coconut trees on the farm. So when you're coming here, you know, you're not coming to detox, because most of you that come to detox, then you go back home and retox. You're coming you're coming to get your life together. You come and get a hold of yourself. You come in to get a jump start into the rest of your life, and you should only detox once. Stop retoxing, okay? Because you see the consequences, and you're just going to be, you know, like a yo-yo back and forth. And then you take laxatives and enemas and herbs and colonics and all these things, and using those as crutches. So ultimately, herbs and those things are for people who don't want to step up and do the right thing. So remember that it's about the right thing, and the more crutches you can take, the less incentive you're going to have to just step up and do the right thing. And the right thing is eating the original, natural, and best food for human consumptions that are not going to make you sick. And there's all art and science behind that. So go to sunfired.com, Sunfired, and you'll find out how to get here. You know, we offer some very diverse programs, and it's all centered around food. You know, so we are, you know, as my beautiful sister, one of my great students, beloved ancestor, Cicely Tyson, who's got certified with me. She said in 19, I it was like 2012 around there. She said, what we're dealing with is God food. You know, she introduced me as the God of food. But, you know, that's going pretty high, you know, but I give her maximum respect because she's the longest living vegetarian that we have known on this planet in modern time. Over 70 years of not eating animals. You call her a vegan, but, you know, she was about being, you know, strictly 100% clean, pure vegetarian. You know, so we be careful about how we throw that word around. And she lived to be way up advanced in her 90s and never showed any sign of aging, decay, sickness, or anything like that. So you take it from her, but also you can take it from Dick Gregory, my mentor, who in 1984, actually, yeah, 1984, Dick Gregory said, if God was to come back to this planet, I would look for sun-fired foods because this food is exactly what godliness is all about. That's my ancestor. That's my elder. This is the kind of, you know, influence that I've had to get to where I am today. So we have plenty of information out there. The path has been laid. So let's come on home, family, and let's defend and protect our lives, the lives of our children, our family, and our community. Mind your plate. It's not the food in your life, but the actual life that is served on your plate. You're not going to get death from life. Stop killing your food and expect to extract life from it. Reshuffle. Reshuffle the deck. Trade that education back in. If you're trying to practice medicine and not taking the food factor into consideration, then you bought a malpractice education. Let's call it what it is. Get a refund. Certainly look forward. Okay. You're welcome. Thanks for having me, and it's great, you know, getting the opportunity to share with the family. Peace. All right. Bless up. Bless up. Peace, family. All right.
So many different perspectives on healing, and this was one of the guys that was around with Dr. Sabi. You know, he was basically, I want to say, a person that Dr. Sabi used to have, you know, altercations in the base with, but they had different perspectives. As you see, he's a guy that believes that we shouldn't cook our food. He's a guy that believes that, you know, drinking water is not the best consumption of water. And Dr. Sabi comes from a different perspective. He believes that if you're eating alkaline food, and no matter if it's cooked or not, you're still going to get the electrical energy. And drinking spring water is one of the best waters to drink. And the thing that I want to do for you guys is to show you different perspectives for you to come up with your own idea of healing and what may work best for you. So the thing is that a lot of people can get a lot of benefits just by cutting off a lot of the cooked food and just being on an alkaline diet, but some people can only plateau. So to be able to go straight raw and go on a high fruit diet and things that might take you to the next level. So the thing is that no matter who that we bring on, you know what I mean? I always respect different perspectives on healing because it's about unification. The main thing is that we have to change the way we eat. We have to change our diet. We have to put away the fast food. We have to put away all of the processed and different chemical foods that they have in the store. And like he said, we got to get back to the farm. We got to get back to the land. And this is the things that we're working on at the House of Israel right now. And we're unifying all the houses of Israel to be able to meet the people at their needs and to give the people the food that's necessary for us to continue to live and not be sick. So basically, you know, it's just a lot stored, and even, you know, we got even more treats coming down the line because it's not even just the food you eat. We also got chemicals and things of that nature that we're going to be talking about in the future that comes outside of the food that you eat, you know. And the thing is, we always going to be linking up with people that's bringing solutions. We never bring on people that's going to talk about a problem and don't bring a solution on. So matter of fact, we got a treat. Hopefully tomorrow we got this brother that's going to be coming on, and you know, it's I don't want to ruin it. It's a surprise. It's a big surprise, and it's an honor that he was able to even respond because this brother got like over 1 million TikTok views. You know, he's very, very you know, viral right now, and it's up to Israel and our people to actually try to see if we can, you know, expose this brother on the right path. And you know what I mean, it's a young brother that's doing a lot. So like I said, we got a treat coming tomorrow, you know what I mean? I don't want to expose it, and it's going to be, you know, very interesting. If anybody got any questions in the panel or anybody want to have a comment to ask or anything to say, and just, you know, this could be a time you can bring something up. Oh yeah. With the coconuts, like Elder Aris was saying, when it comes to coconuts, when you're dealing with hydration, it's also a form of getting the proper electrolytes, right? So a lot of what happened was, say, for the athletes, a lot of the athletes were actually becoming very dehydrated, even though they were drinking water, but they wasn't getting electrolytes. So this is why they tried to implement Gatorade to give these people electrolytes, but all they did was throw a lot of salt, which is only one form of electrolyte, but it also causes high blood pressure when you consume too much salt. So when you're looking at coconut water, you're getting all type of different magnesium electrolytes, all type of different minerals in the structured water that hydrates you on a cellular level. So it's 1,000 times better than drinking Gatorade if you're going to work out, if you're going to exercise and do anything that comes with movement, you know. So like we talked about the week before, when it comes with the athletes, a lot of our athletes are very, very dehydrated. Instead of having Gatorade, they need to have raw coconuts and things of that nature. But it's all about education. You know, we just been taught wrong. A lot of the physicians and things of that nature that brought Gatorade to the athletes, they tried to give the, you know, they did the best they could with the knowledge that they was taught in their schools and their colleges. But the thing is, nature and the Most High gives us everything we need for any occasion that we go through. And the water that's in fruits and the water that's in coconut gives us the energy to do it, you know, to actually revitalize our fatigue.
It's great information. Praise Yah. To Darius, did you want to hop in? Elder Yael, did you want to hop in? Say a few words. Yes, not. To Darius, Yael. All right, I guess not. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. Today
I
is
got a little something.
Okay.
The elder it was very informative, and I thought it was pretty profound and pretty deep. You know, only thing I wanted to add about the hydration. So, you know, for obvious reasons, we don't always, and I'm saying we as a whole, don't always have access to the best foods. Of course, we're trying to move toward that. And that coconut water and, you know, that that fruit-based diet. I'm gonna call it that. But I just wanted to say that, you know, I agree with him with the empty water. That's my take on it. I mean, that's how I view that bottled water. But something that a lot of people don't know, you know, when you drink water, you are, you know, and you talked about these athletes being dehydrated. It takes magnesium for your cells to accept and be hydrated by that water. And sometimes it can be as simple as putting a pinch of Celtic salt on your tongue before you drink a little water. Okay, you don't have access to Celtic salt, maybe a little pink Himalayan, just a pinch before you consume the water. And that will allow you to optimize drinking that water and allowing those cells to be hydrated. I just wanted to add that. Right. Agreed. And I wanted to also add that I didn't share that Celtic salt has 82 of those 102 minerals that we need. And of those 82, you got 3 magnesiums, which are essential for the hydration portion of drinking water. You know, you just drinking water, you're not maximizing the benefit of it. But again, that's where that little pinch of salt, just a pinch prior to of that Celtic salt will help you with that.
Yeah. And that's like I said, you know, adding the like Dr. Sabi, add the key limes to the water, stuff like that, adding fruit, things of that nature. You giving that, you making that water structured. You know what I mean? So the thing is, it's about doing what we can do, and that's what, you know, that's the whole purpose of us bringing these things on. You know what I mean? We got to do what we can do until we get to the situation where we can get the fruits and stuff of that nature. We get on, you know, get certain land and things of that nature, which we're going to be working on. But, you know, this is the thing we can do. Drink your gallon of water. I mean, everybody just not on that level yet, you know, to go away from water. So, but yeah, other than that, like I said, we got a treat tomorrow. You know, we're doing a double header this week, and we got a great interview tomorrow, man. I'm just excited. You know, it's gonna be profound. It's gonna be profound. So make sure y'all guys tune in tomorrow around 7, the same usual time. I guess, you know, it'd probably be about the same amount of length, and just be prepared to be shocked about what you're going to see tomorrow.
Absolutely, absolutely. We appreciate everybody coming in today, and happy Kodesh to everybody. We are actually in our 11th month, and, you know, go ahead and map out your month, you know, start to make those changes as we approach into our new year. We will have one more month left into our new year, so just take that into consideration. And congratulations, you know, we almost at the end of the cycle, the end of the year. So continue to stick in there and continue to tap in with us. Follow us on Instagram at Levitical Health Organization. Join our group at Hebrew Israelite Holistic Health on Facebook, and also connect with me on Facebook at Raquel Firstborn Hepzibah. Follow Uriah underscore Candyman, the real Candyman, on Instagram. Connect with us outside of here. Give us a call if you ever want to come on the show. And feel free to always come into these Zoom calls too. We send the invites out to everybody so they can ask their questions or make comments within the Zoom. So yeah, we appreciate everybody coming in, man. And also follow Aris at Aris Latham on Instagram, and then you can also go to his website, and I believe it's called Sunfired Culinary. So if you put that into Google, his website should pop up. So yeah, but yeah, we appreciate everybody, man. Go ahead, everybody here, go ahead and get this video a thumbs up as always, and then we will see you all tomorrow. Praise Yah.
Hallelujah.
My man Naha, what's going on?
Hallelujah.
How you feeling?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself, brother?
Good, man. How you feeling about this new moon?
Good. I'm always, you know, happy when we make it to a new month, because that means, you know, the Most High saw it fit to give us a bit of mercy that we don't deserve. And with every time He give us that mercy, that's another opportunity to get things right, or at least to try our best, you know, to put our best foot forward. And, you know.
Absolutely. Praise Yah, man. We look forward to you tapping in with us tomorrow too. All right,
Definitely.
so everybody in here, tap in with us tomorrow, okay? All right, shalom, everybody. Love y'all.
Shalom.
All right, shalom. Y'all bless.